Welcome to the Essence of Spirituality. I'm your host, Michelle. Today we explore the profound link between loneliness and spirituality. Through a channeled message and a narrative inspired by Jesus, we'll uncover the sacred lessons within solitude. Join us for insights into the essence of spirituality amidst the quiet whispers of loneliness. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Essence of Spirituality podcast. This is the very first episode. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you do, please share it with somebody. All right. So this week we are talking about being lonely. There are so many people in the world that are so lonely and they don't know how to break the cycle of their loneliness. Now, how does being lonely interfere with spirituality? It does impact it quite a bit, especially if you feel like you are totally alone. Well, each week I always tap into spirit and I channel a not only a message but also an art piece. And each week it's going to be somebody different that comes through to channel this message. And this week it was about being lonely. So, what I painted, and it's so interesting how it came across because I never know what it's going to end up like. And so the colors are yellow. We got a lot of red in there. We've got blues in there, oranges. And when you look at the centerpiece in the very middle, it looks like a bridge. All right. So when we're talking about loneliness, that's the word that came to mind. It's like a spiritual bridge. It has high frequency and it's almost like it's coming from a different world to the planet Earth, all in frequency. Now, Annie is the one that brought the message through. All right. And this is the message that she told to me. The bridge between the spiritual world and other worlds is very thin. The spiritual world is close. To connect with the spiritual world, imagine a bridge between our worlds. It's all in the connection and frequency. The spiritual world, we are here for you in the time of need. Sit in quiet, connect, and listen. We will send you energy, love, and knowledge to help you on your spiritual journey. You are never alone and you are loved. And I absolutely love this message because it makes you realize, even though you feel like you are totally alone with everybody that is around you, or if you don't have anybody around you, you have the spiritual world around you. That's why praying is very important. This is why talking to the spiritual world is important. Many times, whenever I get really lonely, I talk to Jesus. I always say, I know that you're there. I know you're listening. I know that you can send me the angels to help me. And it just makes me feel like, you know what, I am not alone. And many times when you sit in quietness, you can feel that energy. You can feel the other world coming in. You can feel the essence of God. So, but the only thing a lot of times we don't do is listen after we talk to the spiritual world. And so, what I really wanted to do as well is I wanted to bring in a story. If Jesus was here at this time and was telling his stories, I absolutely love that he used to tell stories not only to adults but also to children. And I felt that, my goodness, he stands for so much. So what I have done is I have created a little clip, a little story time, that if Jesus was here today, what would he say about being lonely? One day, Jesus gathered a diverse group of people in a bustling city. He began to share his story, adapting his teachings to the challenges of the contemporary world. There was once a person who lived in a city filled with people, yet loneliness weighed heavily on their heart. Each day, they walked through crowded streets, surrounded by faces buried in glowing screens, lost in the world of technology. One day, as this person sat on a park bench, feeling the ache of isolation, a stranger approached. Instead of passing by with eyes fixed on their own device, the stranger noticed the loneliness etched on the person's face. The stranger asked, "May I sit with you?" And without waiting for an answer, took a seat. They put down their smartphone, looked the lonely person in the eyes, and started a genuine conversation. As they talked, the stranger learned about the struggles, dreams, and joys that filled the lonely person's life. They discovered common ground and shared experiences. The stranger, moved by compassion, suggested, "Let's put away our phones and connect with people around us. There's a whole community waiting to be discovered." Together, they embarked on a journey to break the digital barriers that kept people apart. They encouraged others to join in, to look up from their screens and engage with the living, breathing world around them. In time, the lonely person found a community not in the virtual realm, but in the shared moments of laughter and support of those encountered. The city, once a place of isolation, became a vibrant tapestry of human connection. And so Jesus concluded, in the age of constant connectivity, do not forget the power of genuine face to face interaction. The Samaritan of today is the one who looks up from the screen, sees the loneliness in another's eyes, and says, "I am here with you." Now, after listening to the story told by Jesus, if he was here on the planet, think about it. Now, I'm not saying that you need to sit with anybody that's sitting on a bench because sometimes that's unsafe, but you can just kind of walk by, look eye to eye, and smile at them. And that will make them feel like they are not alone. So, the simple things in life, there's just think about things that you can do to really help people that you feel are lonely. And then if you are lonely, what can you do to change it? And, I think it's very, very sad a lot of times when an individual is surrounded by all of these people and they feel lonely. They feel like they are not understood. And the number one thing that you need to do is really dive into your soul. You need to like yourself and show everybody who you truly are. And I think through all of that, you will find that you become less and less lonely. So, what I want to talk about now are the things that really interfere with our spirituality through loneliness. What are the different situations that we find ourselves in? So, social isolation. So, here we go. So, somebody who is surrounded by people, but they don't feel like they belong. They not feel like they're being heard, and so that can really bring into being very lonely. Or if you feel like you're not showing everybody your authentic self, you tend to isolate yourself. And I also want to talk about empaths. Okay. If you're an empath, you are feeling everybody's energy, not only your own, but everybody's energy. So you tend to social isolate yourself. And that can make you feel very, very lonely. So that leads to lack of meaningful connection. So if you're not feeling connected to the world around you, and many times we don't, or you're not feel like you're connected with anybody around you, you need to find people that believe in the same thing that you do, are like you. And because you are a beautiful soul, that's what because not everybody thinks alike. All right. So every social group you can find, it's almost like whenever you watch those movies and you see high school and you have like a table full of athletes, a table full of cheerleaders, a table full of of people. I don't want to say nerds, but a nerd table because they're scientific. So you need to find your group, especially as you become an adult. You need to find where you fit in, and that is just so important. And technology, believe it or not, can really help with that. You can find meetup groups and find people that you can actually connect with. Now, the next thing is transitions and life changes. So many times we grow up in a certain city and we move to a different place. And it's almost like you go, okay, I don't really feel like I belong here. I don't know anybody here. Especially, if you're in the military, there are so many people in the military that move ever so often and they have to reestablish themselves. And that can be very draining and you can feel very lonely that way. Lack of social skills. So many people have that social anxiety and they get very, very anxious and they close in or they don't know how to approach anybody. I used to teach social skills with children who were diagnosed with autism. And I would teach them how to approach people, start a mini conversation because several people have difficulty approaching somebody that they do not know. I mean, think of about being at a party. It is very difficult to mingle with somebody that you don't know. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy to do that because what if they turn their back on you and you start thinking all these negative thoughts? But think of it this way. What is the other person missing out on for not knowing you? So if you don't approach somebody, they're really going to miss out on who you are and what you can bring into their lives. So think of it that way. So mental and physical health issues can also bring difficulties in isolation. So, and it's so exhausting. And especially if you got a lot of physical or if you have a disability and you can't really walk, that can bring a lot of loneliness in as well. So, again, you need to create an environment around you. You need to bring people in so that you can actually have somebody to talk to. And many times it just takes one person. And remember, you are never alone. You've got God with you, you've got the spiritual world with you. But as humans, we need to have that one to one contact with another human. All right. So, technology and social media. And I want you, just like what Jesus was talking about, being on the cell phone all the time, or if you're Zooming all the time with people, or just anytime you make contact, you're on technology that's not in person. And it worked during COVID. Whenever we had COVID restrictions, we had to do that. But look at how many people became so lonely. So we need to have that hug. We need to have that handshake. We need to be in the present of other people's energy to feel not lonely. So, unfulfilled expectations. So many times we are hurt by somebody when we were younger, or you recently been hurt by somebody, you don't trust people. And a lot of that will bring loneliness because you put up a brick wall around you. So many times whenever I do readings for people, that's what they do. They don't want me to really read their aura or their soul because they're afraid of being hurt. Sometimes you got to kind of gradually knock down that wall. Trust yourself that you can protect yourself and have that courage to come out. Then if you have cultural or stigmatized identities. So many times if you are different from anybody else and you're going, you know what? I've got that stigmatism. No, nobody wants to be around me. What you need to do is you need to really embrace who you are. God made you different for a reason. God made you different for that love. God made you different to show and teach people that it's okay to have a different voice. It's okay to look different. It is okay. And find people that really support you so that you can carry on who you need to be. This episode has helped you. And again, loneliness can really stunt your growth and becoming who you are authentically in your spiritual journey. So, what can you do this week to increase the essence of your spirituality?